Are you grown up? Are you sure? How do you know? What does it mean to be grown up? To be more accomplished, to have a good job, to have all your stuff together? Or is it to be wiser and to know better than others? To have kids or to have been married at least once? To constantly take care of others? Some of you think you're all grown up, and some of you, like me, just aren't sure. And is it good to be grown up? Well, it depends on how you define it. Whether you're starting out as an adult or beginning a new cycle in life, you'll want to see this. Because understanding what it truly means to be a grown up isn't about reaching a finish line, but about embracing freedom to define your life on your own terms. And after all, growing up may not be what you think it is, and understanding that might be the very thing that makes you grown up. Let's find out what it means to be grown up. Welcome back to Thinking and Being. If you like what you see today, please be sure to like and subscribe, as this will enable you to see more content like this. I plan to be on YouTube for the next 50 years or so either way, you're going to have to deal with me, so you might as well like and subscribe. Real quick, what's new in the studio? I'm trying a new thing. I'm trying a new monitor teleprompter method rather than my crazy sticky method. So we're adapting and learning here. I'm new to this, and so I hope you can bear with me a little bit. I tried reading off the monitor here. I've tried stickies. I tried a new microphone set up last time, stand made of Legos. Maybe one day I'll get this LED sign up finally. So we'll see what happens. But maybe you'll check in one day and I'll have a big long beard, and that'll happen. It's not going to happen. I can't grow a beard like that. But we're informal here, so no big whoop.
New York, daughters, dogs, no big whoop, just coffee talk.
Today, I want to talk about being grown up. I've been thinking a lot about this as I've gone through some interesting phases of my life recently. In early life, I started out on what I call the achievement train, which I might do a video on in the future, but basically earning accomplishments and completing things and doing more and more and more and working harder, mostly because I didn't know any better and I wanted to ensure a safe and stable life for myself and my family. But more recently, my kids are getting older now. I recently got through a very long-term relationship, and I've gotten through a phase of my professional life where I'm earning a pension now because of that first phase of my professional life. And all of this has happened on the backdrop of the recent COVID pandemic. In a lot of ways, I feel grown up, but in a lot of ways, I feel like I'm just starting. From structured duty to a self-directed phase where you can reimagine what being grown up actually means, it's a powerful and important moment. It's not a crisis, but maybe a rebirth of autonomy. Society tells us that adulthood is a linear progression. Study, work, build a career, settle down, slow down, and retire. But in reality, it's far less predictable and often cyclical. So allow me to get some initial ideas into your head about what it means to be grown up. The first idea is thinking about completion versus expansion and where you might sit along that dimension or that spectrum. When you're working toward clear, defined goals, like me with a certain career, parenting young kids, heavily involved and deeply committed into long-term relationships, there's always a next step in sight. But when you accomplish major milestones in your life, you move from a path someone else designed for you, things like duty, obligation, responsibility, into a phase of designing your own life. It's not about starting over. It's about expanding into something new without the rigid constraints that once defined you. Another idea is about COVID and the redefinition of work and time. The pandemic forced people to reassess their routines and rethink what work means. I've learned to love working from home, not just for the convenience, but because it provided freedom and challenged the idea that adulthood means grinding in a traditional structured system or office cubicle. Post-COVID life has made many of us realize that being grown up doesn't have to mean living by the old rules. The lessons that I've learned in that environment should not be thrown away. Leaf blowers. Everyone's got a leaf blower in California. Another idea that I want to share is that what I call the reawakening of youthful curiosity. When you're younger, the world feels open-ended because you don't have everything figured out yet. Now, after major life transitions, you're going to possibly rediscover that feeling, but with more wisdom and with more stability and maybe financial stability. So there's a paradox in adulthood, which is you can be both highly competent and still growing, but accomplished and still excited for what's next. And think about when you die. What is that like? When you're near death, you're around your family, enabled to do things. You probably have a much more open mind about things, knowing what's coming. And that in itself, life overall, is a cycle. You end your life much like the way you started it, where peoples are caring for you. You can't quite take care of yourself. Your mind is open and free. So, in a lot of ways, life is just a cycle. So, feeling like a kid again isn't just regression, it's a return to curiosity, creativity, and self discovery on your own terms.
Have you ever had a dreams that you had you do?
So, why does this matter? Many people reach a phase where they've checked the boxes of traditional success and wonder, what now? Reframing adulthood as an evolving, open ended process rather than a finish line allows for growth, reinvention, and joy. Being grown up might not be about proving yourself anymore. It could be about defining life on your own terms. Real quick, one of the things I do, weird things I do in my videos, is I do a unpaid product promotion, or what I call just a product promo. And I do this, of course, I'm not getting paid, but I figure number one, it's good karma. Number two, it might be a product that helps you or that you would actually like and want to use. And number three, it's a great practice for when this channel gets monetized, which will happen. It's going to happen. So, the product that I want to promote this time around is Lego. Lego is something that's been a part of my life since I was a child. As a child, I would make creations not from sets, just from piles of Legos, just piles and piles of Legos everywhere. I made all kinds of sets, just original sets from my own brain. But nowadays, Lego serves other purposes, and it's nice to put together sets that they have that are a little more sophisticated and a little more well thought out than what I could do as a child. But I've been using Legos and having fun with Legos all my life, and you can see the creations behind me in the shot here on this video, in my previous videos as well. This particular set is called Spaceman, and it's set number 31152. Legos are great if you're new to Legos or you're not quite sure if you'd be into Legos. Well, if you like relaxing things like coloring, color by numbers, or you just like listening to music, or you like to do things that help you relax, well, Legos are the thing to help you. And every Lego set comes with a nice, easy, step-by-step instructions. You do not have to be a smart person to put Legos together. They literally have steps that have like one piece or two pieces. Put the one piece on. That's it. Like, this is not difficult. People look at Legos and they think it's difficult. No, you can be a total dummy like me and put these things together without mistake. So every set comes with really good instructions. Obviously, Lego's been around forever, but I think whether you're young or old, not grown up or fully grown up, I think you're going to really enjoy trying out different Lego sets. I'm going to leave a link in the description below, so go ahead and check it out. You can see that set, or you can see other sets on Amazon that you can choose from that you would want to put together. All right, back to the video. Next, allow me to briefly go over a handful of dimensions or spectra of being grown up that may change your perspective of what that really means. And feel free to comment below and add on which side of these you think you might be on and why. First dimension that I want to talk about is accomplishment versus freedom. Some measure adulthood by what they've achieved, while others measure it by how much freedom they've earned. True maturity might be realizing you don't have to choose one over the other. You can design a life that balances both. What about following rules versus questioning rules? Many grow up believing in strict rules only to realize later that most rules are arbitrary, outdated, or created by flawed humans. Part of adulthood is knowing which rules to break and which ones actually serve a purpose. Another way to think about growing up is caring what people think versus not caring what people think. Which one is more grown up? At first, you seek approval, then you realize no one actually has it all figured out. Being grown up might mean learning whose opinions matter and whose don't. Another way to think about it is taking care of others versus taking care of yourself. Society often defines adulthood as sacrifice, but constantly pouring from an empty cup is not sustainable. True responsibility means knowing when to prioritize yourself so you can show up for others without losing yourself. What about having authority versus having autonomy? Some see adulthood as being in charge, but real power is about owning your own decisions, not controlling others. You don't need a title or a position. Autonomy is the real flex. Another dimension you can think of is what others want versus what you want. Early on, you follow the script society hands you. Then you realize you can write your own. The real turning point is when you start making choices because they matter to you, not because they should matter. What about having your stuff together versus not having your stuff together? You can replace the word stuff with another word if you'd like. The illusion is that adults have everything figured out. But the reality is that even the most together people are making it up as they go. Now, thinking in terms of physics, what about decreasing entropy versus increasing entropy? Some people organize their lives, relationships, and finances like a closed system, keeping entropy or chaos low, which is the way I started my life, for sure. Others embrace a more open system where change, disorder, and unexpected growth are just part of the game. Another physics analogy might be potential energy versus kinetic energy. Are you building up for something or are you already in motion? What about standing still versus exploring? And can you explore in place? Exploration doesn't just mean traveling, it means trying new ideas, perspectives, and habits. You can stay in the same place physically while expanding mentally, emotionally, and intellectually, such as doing things like watching this video right now. Another dimension to consider might be being more robotic versus being more human. Some fall into repetitive program behaviors to survive life's demands. Wake, work, repeat. Real adulthood might mean breaking that cycle and injecting curiosity, creativity, and emotion back into your life. What about working hard versus working smart? The traditional view is that you work hard and you will get success. But the evolved view might be working smart equals freedom, efficiency, and sustainability. And maybe that's the better route. What about being mature versus being immature? This is one of the biggest things I thought about when I made this video in the first place. Maturity is often framed as seriousness, but sometimes playfulness is the most mature response to life. Maybe growing up, then, is knowing when to take things seriously and when to laugh at how absurd it all is. You don't have to be mature all the time.
When I grow up, I'm going to Bovine University.
What about stability versus adaptability? Some believe being an adult means having a stable, predictable life. But in a changing world, adaptability is often a better and bigger strength. Maybe growing up, then, or being a grown up, means being grounded enough to handle uncertainty, not eliminating uncertainty. What about the dimension of knowing the answers versus asking better questions? And I'm going to do another video on asking better questions in the future. The young want answers. The wise know that the right questions matter more.
What is a horseshoe? What does a horseshoe do? Are there any horse socks? Is anybody listening to me?
So the more you grow, the more you realize certainty is overrated. And the last dimension I want to mention is playing the game versus changing the game. And here's yet another video I'm going to do in the future, which is about playing the game of life. Most people start off by playing by the rules that they're given, but eventually you see that the game itself can be redesigned. Adulthood isn't just about winning in the system, it's about deciding what kind of game you actually want to play. So, this is all to say if we consider being grown up as any one of these spectra or dimensions, depending on where you are in life, you might fall in a different place on each of them. But this is also meant to open your mind a bit about what it means to be grown up and maybe help you reassess. Hey, oh, quick. One other thing I do in my videos, which is kind of weird, is a YouTube shout out to another content creator. And I do this because number one, it's good karma. And number two, they're the reason I'm doing this silly YouTube experiment myself. They've inspired me to do this. So I feel like I should give them the credit they deserve. Today, I want to promote one of my favorite YouTubers and content artists in general, and he goes by the name of at David Cho. His videos are great. He tells stories about growing up, about life, decision making, purpose, self worth, And he does it through the genres of art and comedy. And it's just really well done. Every time you watch one of his video, he just makes you feel good about yourself like few others can when you're done watching. I talk about childlike curiosity. Well, he'll bring that right back when you watch his videos. So I'm going to put a link in the description below to David Cho. Please go check him out. You will really enjoy it. So one of the last big ideas I want to give you about this topic about being grown up is that and one of the things that I will mention as a theme in a lot of my videos is the concept of systems thinking. And systems thinking is really just accounting for yourself and other human beings as part of a bigger system. And that system may not be linear, it may be nonlinear, and it may be a loop, and it involves feedback, and it might be a cycle. What I'd like to talk about is, putting some of these things in perspective in terms of a loop or feedback loop in life when we think about being grown up. The cycle of becoming grown up is really essentially the way I'm showing it here is a reinforcing loop. It's a self-perpetuating growth and realization loop. This loop represents how becoming grown up isn't a one-time event, but a continuous cycle of learning, adaptation, and self-awareness. So in the first node of the loop, you see increased responsibility leads to increased self-awareness. As people take on responsibilities, career, family, independence, they start reflecting on what truly matters to them. This self awareness creates questions about their values, their priorities, and life direction. So, this increased self awareness leads to questioning old assumptions. As self awareness grows, people begin questioning societal expectations about adulthood. An example would be, do I really need to work 60-hour weeks to be successful? Going through the loop, when you're questioning old assumptions, this leads to redefining adulthood for yourself. People start realizing that being grown up is not a fixed concept. They move from external validation, doing what's expected, to internal validation, defining your own success. Next, when you redefine adulthood for yourself, this leads to increased autonomy and authenticity. With a new perspective, people begin to live more authentically, focusing on what truly aligns with them. This might mean changing careers, shifting priorities, or embracing uncertainty with confidence. Then, that increased autonomy and authenticity leads to more control over your responsibilities. Now, instead of being burdened by these responsibilities, people take ownership of them on their own terms. They become more efficient, stress less about external expectations, and focus on intentional living. The cycle continues as more control over responsibilities leads to even greater self awareness. As you refine your lifestyle, you can gain even deeper insight on what fulfillment and success mean to you. And so, this is a self reinforcing feedback loop where each cycle strengthens the next iteration of growth, autonomy, and authenticity. Once someone enters this cycle, they continuously refine and redefine what it means to be grown up based on experience rather than blindly following a static definition. Now, in real life, there could be some balancing aspects to this. Systems thinking concepts have reinforcing loops, but they also have balancing loops. External pressures like family, financial constraints, societal norms can slow the loop by pulling people back into traditional expectations. Some might temporarily revert to old habits like overworking or seeking validation, which disrupts the reinforcing growth cycle. However, over time, many individuals return to self awareness and re enter the loop from a stronger position, and you can too. Now, before we wrap up, I want to give you a decision framework that may help you as you navigate being grown up. And it's a 3-step process. The first step is adapt. Accept change and embrace uncertainty. This matters because adulthood is full of unexpected shifts, career changes, relationships evolving, and new responsibilities. Those who resist change struggle, while those who adapt will thrive. So, how do you do it? Instead of asking, how do I control this? You have to ask, how do I move with this? View uncertainty as a chance to redefine rather than something to fear. Seek resilience, not rigidity. Being grown up means adjusting to the world without losing yourself. In the next step, you have to align. Define what matters to you. It matters because many struggle with adulthood because they're following expectations instead of their own values. The way you do this is just regularly ask yourself, is this truly important to me, or am I just doing it because I should? Identify for yourself 3 to 5 core values that guide all your big, medium, and small decisions in your life. Recognize that your definition of success can evolve. The third step of this framework is act. Take ownership and move forward intentionally. This matters because many people get stuck in self-reflection or overthinking, waiting for clarity before they act. The reality is, clarity comes through action, not before it. So, how could you do this? You can commit to small, intentional steps toward the life you want. Shift from asking, what's the perfect choice, to what's a good next step? And remember, it's iterative. If something isn't working, return to adapt and align, and then adjust in this framework. Why this can work for many people, whatever stage of life they're in? Well, if you're a new adult and you're maybe a little bit younger, this could help you adapt to new responsibilities, align with what excites you, and take action to build momentum. If you're in a midlife shift, this could help you adapt to change, align with your current priorities, and take action towards a fulfilling new phase. Or no matter where you are in life, if you're feeling lost, this framework could be used as a tool to regain direction without overcomplicating the process. Being grown up isn't about having all the answers. It's about learning how to adapt, align, and act over and over again as life evolves. This method helps cut through the ambiguity of adulthood and provides a clear process to work with. Hey, thanks for watching today. Thanks for sticking with me on this video. My 3 key takeaways are: with experience comes knowledge. As you get older, you get wiser, and you just know things.
I drink and I know things.
Second, life is a constant cycle. You can jump in or out at any point. Last, there's no perfect definition of being grown up. Being grown up may not be what you think it means. But again, that might be the very thing that makes you grown up. If you like what you saw today, please like and subscribe, as it keeps me motivated to keep content like this coming. It's my goal to make this content entertaining and funny, enlightening and educational, as well as a bit nostalgic. And stay tuned, as we're going to talk about topics ranging from consciousness to philosophy to physics, as well as the intersections that affect your thinking and your being. Until then, keep thinking and being, and do not go gentle into that good.